Michael Ignatieff is with us. His new book is Fire and Ashes, Success and Failure in Politics. And joining us now is Bill Blaikie, a veteran member of Parliament, an ordained United Church minister who served for 29 years as a New Democrat, including 2 years as the Deputy Speaker, and also served in the Manitoba Cabinet. And now joining us from Edmonton is the former Conservative Member of Parliament, Ken Epp. Welcome to Context. And we wanted a cross-the-partisan look at retirement or refirement, however you guys want to talk about this. But we do want to ask, it's been an unprecedented season of partisanship, of scandal in the Senate, getting parties at each other's throat. We heard more about a $100,000 Senate scandal than we did about what could be a $1 trillion trade deal with Europe. Bill, let's start with you. What are we losing when we are so busy attacking each other?
Well, I think you put it well. It's the distraction from the things that we should all be rather talking about. It's not like you want to not pay any attention to allegations of scandal or misspending or whatever. You want to pay appropriate attention, but you don't. You want to have a system that permits you to do that, and a media culture that permits you to do that in a way that doesn't take away from the attention that needs to be paid to other issues. You've got legislation now being systematically presented in a way that doesn't permit you to focus on issues in the way that you used to, because it's all buried in these huge bills. So you've got a kind of a combination that makes the kind of focused discussion that you would like to see happen on various issues almost impossible.
Okay, Mr. Epp, has the partisanship gotten to a place where it is getting more difficult than you've seen in your many years to get anything done?
Well, I certainly agree with Bill that it's a huge distraction. I know when the Senate thing first started up, I sent an email to some of my former colleagues, and I said to them, come on, you guys. We have a country to run. We have an economy to manage in a world in which many economies are fragile, including ours. And you are being so distracted with this stuff. Let's get back on the game.
Michael, this is the point, is that we get this appetite, though, for these scandals, whether they were credit cards then or whatever we've got now, and people stop paying attention to politics and only to the scandals. Do you think it's the media, or is there something that can be done to stop the spin cycle?
Well, look, I think when someone misuses the credit card and when someone shaves on your expenses, and this is what we've got in the Senate, it's actually a serious matter because it's your money. It's the people's money. It's my money. So you got to get that fixed. And the people who are responsible have to carry the can. You then said we have an appetite for scandal. I think that's certainly true. That is, we love to watch dirty linen being washed in public, preferably someone else's, right? We like that. And there's a sense in which politics, someone famously said, is show business for ugly people. People like, we like the personal side of politics, and maybe we like it too much. And that means we neglect, as Ken was saying, we neglect the fact that we've got a country to run and we've got an economy to manage and we got, serious issues to deal with. I think it's a very human side, that human side of being fascinated by personality, fascinated by scandal, but we got to get it under control. We have a country to run.
Are there moments of grace and civility behind the scenes when these scandals are all that we're talking about, attack, that we're not knowing about?
There have been occasions in my political life where the House of Commons now has sought to rehabilitate people who they thought just got the short end of the stick in a kind of a political scandal as opposed to an ethical scandal. And so sometimes there's sympathy. People know that people...
But I think the thing, that's where your personal experience, Ken Epp's experience, my experience of the last 5 years was that there was very little contact across party lines at all. I think you've seen a
different era.
I think you've seen a decline, and what I notice is there's this distinction, I think, between adversaries and enemies.
Yeah.
You're in a different party. Mr. Epp's in a different party, but I would never in a million years think of any of you guys as enemies. But we have a politics of enemies, and I think we need to get back to a politics of adversaries. That is, opponents who compete, but accept each other's good faith. Good clean shot, but nothing below the belt. Basic rules, and I think we've tipped in the 5 years that I was in the House of Commons. We lost that, and I think we've lost something over the 30 years that you were in the House of Commons.
Let's talk about what we are going to do about that, because your track record is 30 years. Ken, yours is almost as long. Let's start with you, Ken. Your government runs attack ads even when it is not during an election. What are we going to do to improve the civility?
The term attack ads is a emotion-laden statement. Sometimes these ads are simply there to help inform other people on what the others
All right,
are doing.
Okay, but now we want to know.
I'm really glad
are they
that's what
factual?
we're doing.
Are they factual or not?
Okay, Ken, but let's talk about how the question I think now needs to be, so how will we get along better? I shouldn't have used a hot button word, but how are we going to improve the civility? Let's each get a suggestion from each of you.
Well,
Of
the first
course.
thing I think we should do is to stop this advertising between elections. And there must be a way to procedurally and in terms of elections in Canada or to rewrite the rules so that we can't have this perpetual campaign going on that really is fueled by the party that has the most money.
Okay, so that's
right?
your
So this is
suggestion.
related to money in politics and the cost of advertising and the ability to wage a constant campaign and to do it in a negative way. It destroys our politics. And the odd thing about this is that this has happened. And here, people say, well, maybe it's being partisan, but I think I'm being historically accurate. This has come to us courtesy of the people who came to Ottawa in the 90s saying they wanted politics to be more civil, the Reform Party. And politics has been incredibly uncivil since they got
All right,
there.
we're trying to keep this not partisan, even though we want all the parties
Well, I'm just telling
represented.
the truth.
But okay, Mr. Ignatieff, what would you suggest for improving the civility of our federal politics?
I think we need to restore the power of Parliament. I think we need to reduce whip discipline. It's easy for me to say. I used to be a leader and I wanted to keep my party under control, but that can have extremely negative effects. We need more free votes. We need more actual debates. Bill made the very excellent point that we have government by omnibus bill. I used to call them dumpster bills, in which you can't actually debate anything.
And Idle No More showed us we want to take those things apart.
We want to take those things apart. I think you get civility back when the House of Commons can do its job, when people can vote occasionally not with the party. We need to free up the party discipline. We need to give the committees more power. And I think also, frankly, there's a lot about the social life of Parliament that, I did not fraternize with members of other parties. I think it's extremely important to know.
to say hi.
Okay, all right, okay, Mr. F.
Bill's a special case. He was everybody's friend, but we need to create rituals of civility outside of Parliament so that you actually know that when you're in the House of Commons, you're dealing with a real human being.
Yeah, do you know that there is a weekly prayer meeting that is all parties on Parliament Hill, right?
Well,
it still is going
that
on.
would help.
It's private, it's quiet, but there's sometimes as many as 40 to 50 people, members of Parliament, at that. Mr. Epp, your point on how to improve the civility in Ottawa.
I think we're onto something here, and that is that instead of fighting with each other, we ought to remember that we're members of the same team. We're here for the good of Canada and for its citizens. We are here, in Toronto's case now, we should be doing what is best for the people of Toronto. And it's not what's good for me, it's what's good for others.
All right.
And there again, I think that the scriptures really give us a good instruction there. They should be informing us that we should think of others more highly than of ourselves. And so it's a base attitude which has to change.
All right, Mr. Ken Epp in Edmonton, thank you very much. And Michael, thank you very much. And Bill, you're going to stay with us for a little longer because we are going to turn again to this topic in a moment. But we're first going to turn to a man who will never be photographed putting his hand over a camera lens. Sheldon.
Oh, thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the compliment, I think. Time again for you at home to weigh in. Our question is this: is the culture of scandal discouraging good people from a career in politics? Please send your answer by phone, email, Facebook, or Twitter.
Okay, coming up, more with Bill Blakey on religion and politics. And one pastor asks, after Rob Ford's public censure and humiliation, what would he do with an unexpected encounter with Christian Mercy? Thank you.